So I've been getting an absolute ton of comments from you guys saying, Swift, how should I spend my coins in Madden 24? And I figured, you know what? Let's make this into a full video because there is a lot to talk about on this topic. Now, Salsa family, and welcome back to another Madden 24 video. In this one, we're going to be going over 4 or 5 tips and tricks you need to know when it comes to spending coins in this game. But first, as we get started, on the screen right here is a $10 PlayStation gift card. If you want more of these giveaways, be sure to leave a like down below. Let's try and get 700 likes on this video, as well as hit that sub button so you don't miss out. All right, now without further ado, tip number 1. This is actually a tip that I need to give myself, to be honest with you, and that is do not be afraid to spend your coins. I get a lot of comments from people saying, Swift, I got 1.5 mil, or Swift, I have 1 million coins. Should I buy cards? I'm kind of worried to. I kind of want to keep my coin stack big. And although I will say there definitely is value to having a high coin stack in this game, I think right now, probably the most important thing in Madden 24 is playing online and getting wins for the competitive field pass. The competitive field pass, in my opinion, gives you some of the best rewards when it comes to season XP as well as players. And of course, to win games, you gotta have a decent team. So tip number 1, I know this is kind of a vague tip, but it's kind of just gonna set the table for the rest of the video. Don't be afraid to spend your coins. Kind of have a number in your head for how many coins you want to maintain. For me, that's about 1 million coins. I'd kind of want to stay over that number, but if I'm over 1 million coins, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know what? How can I spend these coins to upgrade my team? That'll move us on to tip number 2, tip number 3, as well as tip number 4. They're all kind of tied in. Now, tip number 2, when it comes to spending coins slash buying players in this game, is timing is everything, boys. You can save yourself so many coins by buying a player or doing a player set at the right time. Now, here's kind of 2 general tips when it comes to timing in this game. Number 1, I am not necessarily a huge fan of going through and buying cards on their release date. I think personally, if you buy a card on the day it launches, you're likely going to spend a little bit more than you would if you waited a couple days. Like as you can see right here, Bo Jackson, Sean Taylor, a couple days ago, they were selling for about 475k. Now they're at 420k, and I feel like at this price of 420k, they'll probably hover around here. They might slowly go down to 400, but the big drop you guys are going to notice is from like day 1 to day 3, where the card typically will drop about 10%. So if you wait a couple days after a card releases, that's likely the better way to get the player. And tip number 2 when it comes to timing, fellas, is if you want a card and they are in a program that releases weekly, so Legends, so AKA, or even other programs in this game like Headliners, where there was a part 2, I would always suggest you pick up the card that you want on one of the days when new cards in that program release. So right here, as you can see, obviously we're not buying an 88 overall legend because they just came out today, and that's not really economical. That's exactly what I said before. But a card like Warren Moon, a card like Devin Hester, a card like Richard Sherman, today would actually be a good day to buy those players because people are ripping packs. They're trying to pull these new 88 overall legends, and as they do so, they're likely going to pull some of the 87s. So if you're looking for a legend player, probably pick them up on Saturday. If you're looking for an AKA card, probably pick them up on Monday. And with any other programs EA Sports does in this game, it's always a good idea to target the cards you want on a day when other cards are coming out in that promo. All right, tip number 3, I don't want you guys jumping and buying your cards quite yet because you got to know this one, boys. It is very, very important that before you get a player, you check and see if the set is cheaper. So for me personally, as you probably can tell, I want Warren Moon on my team. So what I did is I went to the Warren Moon set and I said, how much is this set going to cost me to complete? And after running the numbers on this, it seemed like the set was going to cost me about 340,000 coins. Then I went to the auction block and said, how much can I buy the card for? And whichever number is cheaper is of course what you guys are going to want to do. I believe how the numbers are looking right now, it's actually cheaper to get Warren Moon by just buying him on the auction block, but it was definitely worth checking the set. And there's actually a player I'm going to be getting later in today's video who the set was cheaper for. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but let's pick up Warren Moon, boys. If you couldn't tell, we're also going to be making some upgrades to the team right here. 320,000 coins. We missed that deal, but ultimately this is cheaper than doing the set. I believe the set was costing you about 350k, so 325k for Warren Moon. He has been obtained. This is the best quarterback in the game, to be honest with you, so I feel good about that purchase. To buy Madden 24 coins for the cheapest price on the internet, check out MMOEXP by clicking the link in the description and use promo code SWIFT at checkout for 5% off. All right, tip number 4, that's to go on over to Underdog Fantasy and use code SWIFT. I'm sorry, that was a little bit demanding, but boys, the reason why I mentioned that is because Underdog Fantasy has a Patrick Mahomes 0.5 total yard special going on right now for Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is just a matter of days away at this point, and if you want to get access to the Patrick Mahomes 0.5 yard special, that's what we consider a free line on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is a place where you make higher or lower picks, and depending on how many you get correct, you win cash. And of course, the fact that Patrick Mahomes' line is 0.5 yards, he's basically guaranteed to go higher. So if you want access to that line and you want to check out Underdog Fantasy, click the link in the description or go on over to the App Store or Google Play Store, download Underdog Fantasy and put in the promo code SWIFT. You'll get the Pat Mahomes line. And again, you only have a few days to claim that. So check it out, boys. All right, boys, the real tip number 4 this time, or actually that was a good tip that I just told you guys about Pat Mahomes, but let's go over tip number 4. That is to go through and pick up players who will either be super valuable to your team or have some characteristic about the card that differentiates them. And in my opinion, Warren Moon is the perfect example who kind of hits both of those criteria. Obviously, sometimes you'll only find a card that hits one of those criteria, but Warren Moon gets gunslinger. He is different than any other quarterback in this game. He's not going to miss throws because of that. And not only is that something different about the player, but that's a card that is super valuable to my team. So I want you guys to go through, and when you're making upgrades to your squad, think about if this card that you're buying is going to have a major impact on your team. If the answer is yes, buy the card. Now, another example of that for me personally is going to be Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor right here is a card that will have a major impact on my team. He'll be an in-the-box safety, which in my opinion is one of the most important positions on my defense, if not the most important. So what we're going to do right here is we're actually going to do the set for this card. Reason being, you can get this set done for about like 380,000 coins, whereas right now the card is selling for 420k. So that kind of ties back to the previous tip that I talked about, where you guys got to check out the set before you end up making a decision on a player. So Sean Taylor right here will do this set. We'll save ourselves about like 30 to 40,000 coins, and now again we're getting a player who is very important to my team, and we're getting him for the cheapest price possible. All right, tip number 5. A lot of the tips I've been talking about in today's video are more general. They're not necessarily specific as to what players you need to buy in this game, but boys, I will say it's kind of hard for me to go through and be like, okay, this is the card that you need for your team when I can't see your lineup, and then go over and say, okay, this is a card you need for your team when I can't see your guys' lineups right now. But in general, the positions that you guys want to spend your coins on, if you're thinking, okay, I have 1 million coins, I want to make some upgrades, or I have 1.5 mil, I want to make some upgrades, I would say quarterback is very important. Warren Moon in particular is a QB that differentiates from the rest. If you want a budget quarterback, I would say maybe someone like Jordan Love would be the move. Then next up, I think wide receiver is a very important position to spend your coins on. That's 100% the next position that I will be spending my coins on. I think quarterback and wide receiver are definitely the ones you got to spend coins on offense. I feel like if you have a player who's a stud at those positions, you will notice it more than anywhere else on your offense. Then on defense, I'm not going to lie, for me personally, I think safety is the most important position. I would say cornerback is probably second. It kind of depends what scheme you play. If you play man coverage, I'd say cornerback is most important. If you play zone coverage, I say safety is most important. So if you're thinking to yourself, okay, I want to spend my coins, those are the 4 positions that I would be looking to spend my coins on first: quarterback, safety, corner, wide receiver, and I've done 2 of those 4 in today's video. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Hopefully this helped you out. If you guys want a video where I go through and talk about like the 10 must-have players you should be looking to pick up in Madden 24, let me know by dropping a like, because that's kind of similar to this, but it's not really what I wanted to talk about in today's video. But if you guys want that video, let me know and I will most certainly drop it on the channel. And if you guys want to check out a couple other tips for Madden 24, click right here and I'm out. Peace.